It's alive! It's alive!
Otherworldlyculture.com presents Dead On Movie Reviews.
Salutations and mutilations. You're listening to Otherworldly Culture presents Dead On Movie Reviews. Tonight, we will present horror movie reviews and lively debate here on Otherworldlyculture.com and on future select Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join our live chat at that time by clicking on the live shows link on the Otherworldly Culture website. I'm your host, Tim Kretschmann, coming to you from the land of lakes and landfills, beautiful Muskego, Wisconsin. Dead On Movie Reviews is now one of 3 rotating shows on Dead On Thursdays, alternating weeks. We have Dead On the Bases, our horror sports mashup, and we also have now streaming a panel discussion on a film or that is on a free ad-supported streaming service. In fact, one of our movies tonight is on a free service. So we'll hear about that a little later in today's show. And coming next week, we have a very special program coming. We are going to be doing a Tremors retrospective next week, Thursday, here on Dead On Thursdays. It's my honor now to introduce to you the Faculty of Fear panel that's presenting tonight's lectures. We'll start with the gentleman that's here in Muskego with me. Jeff Miller is a sports broadcaster and a news reporter in the Milwaukee area. Jeff has interviewed celebrities on the red carpets at the Grammys and athletes in the dugout. His enthusiastic style has given Dead On the Bases, Otherworldly Culture's podcast, a sporting chance. He's the ump. He's Jeff Miller. Jeff.
Hey, good evening.
All right.
Thank you.
Hailing from the Motor City, Detroit, Michael Cieslak is a lifetime reader and writer of horror, mystery, and speculative fiction. He has served as an officer in the Great Lakes Association of Horror Writers and is the editor of the Eerie Tales anthologies. Michael is the editor-in-chief of Dragon's Roost Press, and his works have appeared in a number of collections, including DOA Extreme Horror, Dead Science, Vicious Verses, and Reanimated Rhymes, and the collaborative steampunk novel Army of Brass. He's a kilt enthusiast, and he's killing it over at thedragonsroost.biz. Hey, Michael, how are you doing?
Good evening, everyone.
Great to see you tonight. And our final panelist, Tracey DeLeon, has been in over 11 films, good friend of the show with numerous appearances here. And it's a thrill to have her on the show again with us tonight. She's the denizen diva of disturbing who frequently partakes in films quite unnerving. She always gives us the straight dope and goes into every film with a glimmer of hope. She is afraid to go ankles deep into a flick and calls out douchetards for being a prick. Now it's my pleasure to set our eyes upon Tracey DeLeon. How are you doing, Tracey?
Ever.
Glad to have you with us here tonight, Tracey. It's going to be a fun night. We have some great movies to talk about. So everybody keep your ass in your seat, sharpen your pencil, and let's get unruly with the Faculty of Fear. And Mike, we've been doing this a lot lately. I'm going to start out with you. What have you been watching, Mike?
I'm sorry, I'm still laughing. You said sharpen your pencils. I stabbed myself with a pencil earlier.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Did you suspect yourself of vampirism?
I was going through one of the proofs for one of the books we have coming out soon, and I bled all over one of the pages.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I did have the wife stop off and get some holy water.
Collector's edition. You gotta sell that.
Edition.
Yeah, you gotta sell that one.
Yeah, signed in blood.
Yeah. So, because Easter is coming up, I have decided to cover, let's see if I can get this so the glare isn't, I should have taken it out of the Mylar. Oh, it's good if I hold it here.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you
Ooh,
go.
a Rottentail. This is just proof that I was on the Rottentail.
Skype's attacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
Okay, say everything. Yeah, say everything from when you held up the comic book that you were into Rottentail before Rottentail was cool or something like that.
I knew about Rottentail before it came on Joe Bob, which was about 2 months ago.
Okay.
This is a movie that does not take itself or anything else serious. So you have to go in with that kind of mindset. It is a horror comedy. The comedy is not highbrow comedy.
No.
If you're looking for an A24 artsy movie, you ain't going to get that here. This is one of 4 movies that Brian Skiba, the director, had come out in 2018. It started its life as a screenplay in 2002, which was then adapted into the graphic novel that I held up, and then readapted back into a screenplay for the movie which I watched. Kind of appropriately enough, and you can see it in the color scheme of some of these stills that you have coming up here. This does have a kind of a comic booky vibe to it.
Oh, yeah.
Like the
absolutely.
reds and the greens and the blues are very primary. They're right there in your face.
Right.
It stars Corin Nemec, who people who are of my age or older will immediately think of the television show Parker Lewis Can't Lose, which was one of 2 TV shows, which was adapted on the Ferris Bueller's premise.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, at least in my opinion, that was the superior of the 2 TV shows, the other one being the actual adaptation of Ferris Bueller. And I thought that TV show kind of sucked. But that's neither
It
here
was
nor there.
terrible, and I think Parker Lewis lasted longer as well.
I believe you are correct on that as well.
I think it went 2 seasons. Yeah.
Nemec goes balls to the wall, all out in this film, and I think deserves a little bit of applause for just absolutely chewing the scenery with those giant bunny teeth that he has in for a big chunk of the movie.
Oh, he has no shame whatsoever.
Completely
A selfless performance.
all the way in on this.
He's all in. Yeah.
He plays Peter Cotton, who is a scientist working at a place called Star Chewing Gum Laboratories, but they're actually doing secret experiments. He is working on a fertility serum that will allow people to have kind of like a super Viagra. So he's working with a lot of rabbits. He's loved bunny rabbits his whole life. Someone in the next lab over, Dr. Stanley, is working on things for the military, one of which happens to be this mutant bunny, which I think is probably the deadliest rabbit on film since the rabbit of Colnar in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Yeah. I mean, easily more frightening than anything you're going to see in Night of the Lupus. Some stuff happens, as stuff will happen in a secret government laboratory, and Peter Cotton gets bitten by this animal, this kind of monster rabbit, and at the same time some of his serum dumps onto his hand, and he starts to undergo some horrible changes, some very bloody and really disgusting changes, and he eventually turns into Rottentail. There are some interesting scenes, like around the quarter mark of the movie, where the Rottentail personality is starting to make itself known in a Jekyll and Hyde kind of way, if both Jekyll and Hyde were on the screen at the same time. Peter Cotton is the epitome of the quiet, shy, soft-spoken nerd, when he becomes Rottentail, he's allowed to kind of get the revenge on everyone that's ever wronged him, which includes, excuse me, his grade school bully, who I won't go into details here because I don't want to give away any spoilers, but went from being a bully in the 10th grade to being a preacher of like a giant mega church. This it's Jake. I cannot remember what his last name is off the top of my head.
But it's a mega church that's only 10,000 square feet. They're talking about. I'm like, I think the Walmart near us dwarfs this mega church.
Hey, it's all about the reach, and he is on satellite. He's got numerous commercials, which I'll come back to at the very end. Jake Mulligan of Mulligan's Ministries. Okay. He is trying to expand by taking over a historical site that is a church right now. But the reason he has nefarious reasons for wanting that particular spot. We have an appearance by Peter's crush from high school as well, who was previously married to Jake and is not anymore. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of twists and things going on, including the general. I am not going to talk about that too much on the podcast. That is some humor. That is some very interesting visual gags there.
Okay.
And we're going to leave that at that.
That's one way to put her.
I can tell by the way you're chuckling that you have indeed seen this movie. You know exactly what I am talking about.
It's hard to avoid talking about that.
Yeah, very, very well done. Very well done.
Thank you.
The special effects in this are interesting. The makeup work, I think, is actually really well done. And I meant to start out by saying,
it's well done if you remember this is cartoony and comic booky.
Exactly.
It isn't trying to be The Fly, even though the storyline is very similar to The Fly in a lot of ways.
It's got kind of a Fly meets Jekyll and Hyde meets the Toxic Avenger.
Yes,
kind of all mashed
it's kind of a mix of that, but it's certainly better than Trauma level.
Yes, much better. And the reason for that is that the bunny costume, which apparently took up most of the budget, was designed and created by the team from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Really?
This is the part where I meant to start this out by saying that, in full disclosure, I am very good friends with one of the writers of this, who was hands-on for the making of the movie. So I do have a little bit of background stuff. There is a lost scene somewhere, which apparently I would love to see it, but there's a prop comic called Carrot Head who gets his head bitten off, which unfortunately does not actually appear in the movie.
If it's anything like the
humor that we're going for right there.
If it's anything like the other decapitation that filled my entire screen late in the film, it is sad that we missed that because that special effect is amazing.
You've got multiple villains in this. Rottentail himself is not a by any means a good character, but you've got the Jake Mulligan character. You've got the original Monster Bunny, which has its own little mini rampage. Mm-hmm. The General reappears after being dispatched at one point. I could go on and on and on, but I actually enjoyed this movie quite a bit. Another little tidbit that I got from the writer, David Hayes, is that the scene in the end, I'm probably not going to give away too much, but there is an explosion at the end, and they actually did blow up a church in Arizona.
Wow.
So that is a practical effect.
Did they? Not to throw too much shade, but were they aware they were doing it at the time? I'm just asking the question.
So I have a quick question for you, Mike. I'm watching these slides here, and I'm noticing the phone in here is very 80s. Is this supposed to take place in the 80s time zone?
They never specifically say what the time is.
Okay.
I don't believe.
I don't.
But
think so.
everything is very 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You've got the giant cell phone. You've got some people that are using rotary phones.
Oh, the computers. The
computers
computer
are-
imagery is
are
not modern.
straight out of the Whopper control room.
Yep.
And you said this was a graphic novel. Is there more Rottentails out there, or is this just a one and done?
One and done at
Okay.
this point.
All right.
And it all takes place in Easter Falls, right?
Easter Falls. Yeah,
Easter
it's
Falls.
very tongue-in-cheek with all of it. You've got Easter Falls. The scientist's name is Peter Cotton.
Yeah. There's a lot of Easter references throughout because, with it being evangelical, they're celebrating Easter.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of stuff in that regard. It's a crazy movie.
They're celebrating Easter with baptisms for 1995.
Yeah, 1995, and they have they have an unsuccessful baptism that is filmed
do.
as well.
Okay.
That's one of the things that
I think the ads were the funniest part.
that's exactly what I was
movie.
going into. One of the things that I love, and definitely a reason to stay through the credits, you get a number of the TV commercials for the Mulligan Ministries, and they're all absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, those are. He's basically building a theme park.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
It's very. Who is it? Tammy Faye and whatever Baker.
And,
Baker,
Jim
Baker.
Jim and
That's
Tammy
what it
Faye,
was.
yeah.
Yeah. It really rings of that time period too. So, yeah.
The potion looks very Reanimator-ish.
It does. It has
Hey,
that same bright green.
In fact, it's so green that when seen in the shadow, it is also green.
Okay.
I was sitting there going, now, what are the physics behind that?
Hey,
Was
all I
exciting.
know, I'm not going to judge it by what it looks like or even how it smells if I smelled it. All I know is that it definitely works, and we know that from the general.
Absolutely. Is it time?
The one
to-
in the movie, not the one that sells car insurance.
Yes, correct. Are we at grading time or?
I believe we're at grading time. I don't want to,
Okay.
like I said, there's enough absolute weirdness that I don't want to
Right.
give anything away.
Yeah.
Although it is, this was first released on the 12th of April, so we're on 2018, so we're just 5 days past its anniversary.
Wow.
Oh, so exciting. So, what are you grading it?
This is a solid B movie. I'm going to give this a B+. Sometimes the humor is a little on the crude side. It's clocks in around an hour 45. It could be maybe a little thinner in
Tighter,
places,
yeah.
but it's an enjoyable movie if you go in knowing that you are going in for a B grade horror humor.
Was this something that went right to video, or is this something that a person could have saw on the big screen in 2018?
You would have to be at very select big screens, because
Okay.
I have seen it on the big screen, but it did not get a wide release.
Gotcha.
But this was available it is still available on DVD and Blu-ray. It's currently showing, I think, on Tubi and Shudder, if I'm not mistaken.
It's on Tubi. I watched it this afternoon on Tubi.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah,
We
so-
might have been watching it at the same time.
Yeah. Now, Jeff, the reason
Yeah.
that they release that at just a few theaters is so that it is technically available for Academy Award consideration if
And
it shows
I
on the
think
screen.
that they were robbed.
Yeah, there was obviously it got overlooked at Oscar time because I saw what got nominated this year, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I'm actually looking up what was nominated in 2018.
All right, so that is Rottentail. We're gonna. Are you gonna look that up? Are you actually
I'm
looking
looking
it
it
up?
up. I'll just put it in the chat so you can.
Okay, yeah, stick it in the chat, and we are going to go to my friend Tracey. Tracey, what have you been watching?
Oh, Tim, I've been watching Abigail.
All right.
It had its world premiere at the Overlook Film Festival in New Orleans in 2024. And then Universal picked it up and it was released the same year. So it is a story about a group of kidnappers who was hired to kidnap a 13-year-old ballerina whose father was a very wealthy, powerful man. So they kidnap her, and it turns out that she's not just some normal 13-year-old girl, and they were actually set up because she's a vampire and she's hunting people, and that's how they get her to hunt people. They pretend to hire people to kidnap her, and she just kills them all.
She plows through them.
Yes. However, in this story, she did save one girl because I guess they gave each other pinky promises, and that matters more than anything.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. So
Yeah.
she let the one lady survive. It was directed by Matthew. Oh, help me out, Tim.
I don't have that up in front of me.
Here he is, Matthew Bettinelli. I found it to be a fun film to watch. I was very entertained, but I don't know how it could be in the horror because it wasn't scary.
You know what, though? It's hard to do that with vampires at this point because they've been so marginalized as a monster. The last thing I saw that actually scared me with vampires was The Strain with Guillermo del Toro. At least he wrote it. He didn't direct the series. But they actually made vampires scary again. It's hard to do that when vampires have been... This is more, I would say, the vampires of the ilk that you see on Buffy the Vampire Slayer in this one. It isn't really scary when it is literally a little girl that weighs about 70 pounds at the most.
Yeah, they need to make it scary. Remember Fright Night?
Yeah, Fright Night's a great movie. Jeff still has recurring nightmares about Fright Night.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. I actually, not to go too far off topic, but this is what I do. I actually listened to today, of all days, there is a podcast called the Table Read Podcast, and they got together the entire Fright Night original cast with the exception of Roddy McDowell, who had passed on already. They got them all together, and they brought in Mark Hamill to do Roddy McDowell's part. And they read the entire script, and
Wow.
they did a great job. It's like 3 podcasts of 40 minutes a piece. It is available out there. If you type in Table Read Fright Night, it'll come right up for you. Really worth going into. They added sound effects. They have music in the background. They did a lot to make it sound as good as they possibly could. But
So it was like an old time radio show? Like,
yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah, it was great. And they had a guy reading the stage directions and everything. It really was fun to listen to. But let's get back to Abigail. Did you have any characters that you related to or liked? Or
So, I liked Sammy, who is actually played by Catherine Newton, I believe her name is.
Right.
Actually, her comedic timing was great. She performed really well. The girl who played Joey, Melissa Barrera, I believe her name is, or something similar to that.
Yeah, she's currently in the Scream franchise. She's kind of the head of all those movies. And I think Newton was in Freaky, that movie that's the Freaky Friday with a slasher film.
Gotcha.
So they...
But I checked Sammy because she's funny and easygoing, which I'm similar to. And then the Joey girl, well, she's resilient, so that's definitely.
Well, she's your protagonist, and I felt as far as protagonist, she was very protagonistic-y.
Yeah.
They basically made her the least worse in the group. And all the characters were named after Rat Pack people. So you had Sammy, you had one that even was Don Rickles, which is Rat Pack adjacent, in my opinion. But you had a Peter.
Important actors that was in it, which was Kevin Durant and Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes.
He is awesome.
He is. And Kevin Durant was actually one of the best parts of the vampire show I was mentioning earlier, The Strain. He was fantastic in that show.
He was good in this one too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, Mike, I know you have seen this movie as well, Abigail.
I was going to say, interestingly enough, according to Facebook memories, I saw it exactly a year ago today.
Wow!
For the advanced screening.
Yeah.
I can't hear.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you can't hear that right now.
He saw that. When did he see it?
A year ago.
Last year.
Yeah.
Last year at this time. Yeah, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was bad. You know.
I enjoyed it. I really did. I thought it was nice. I mean, it wasn't like I was entertained, but I wasn't scared. So.
Yeah, don't go in expecting to wet your pants.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, because we all like to wet our pants from time to time.
Yeah. Right on, Tim. Right on.
All right. Are you ready to grade?
Let's give her a go.
Okay. What are you going to give the movie Abigail from 2024?
Plus, because I was entertained.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
A B plus.
B plus. All right.
B plus.
Yeah, that sounds about right for me as well. I thought that was right in the range where it is. Like you say, don't go in expecting to scream your brains out. But it is a lot of gory fun, and it has a couple twists and turns in there. We didn't give away every little twist, so there's a lot there. And I think the characters were good. Overall, I thought the characters were good.
I really enjoyed the actors. They were all really good. It was a great cast.
Yeah, and one of the gentlemen from the movie that was kind of playing the drug-addled guy, he had passed away even before the movie got out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. The movie was dedicated to him. He's a super young dude. Yeah, so
very sad.
That's kind of sad, but these things happen, you know. All right. Well, then we're going to go to the ump. Jeff, what have you been watching?
Well, I watch a lot of things, but for this show tonight, I watched...
You watched a Brewer game.
Yeah. Oh, that was a bad night. Anyways, they lost, 9-1.
Okay, Jeff, get into the movie.
You brought up the Brewers.
Stop it!
Okay, so I did watch Urban Legend. Now, this movie came out in 1998. I remember seeing it back then as well, believe it or not, me not being the biggest horror fan, but I went and saw Urban Legend. It's
but he did like having his dates grab him very hard.
Right. And I probably saw it on my own.
I don't believe it.
So anyways, this is a 1998 movie. It's rated R. It's an hour and 39 minutes long.
Oh my God. It's
actually the perfect amount of time for this movie. I kind of would have went a little longer. We could have threw a couple more Urban Legends in there. The way this movie starts out, it's set in the Northeast, so up in the New England type of states up there. I think New Hampshire is actually where it takes place. And they open it up with, and I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to preface this before I give you my review.
Here we go.
I will not give any spoilers. I like this movie so much, and even though it is 26 years old or whatever it is, I'm not going to spoil it. But it opens up with an urban legend, the one where the person is in the backseat of the car. Okay, so and that's not giving anything away.
Spoiler.
No, it's not really, because you find out like when you're watching the movie.
You opened this. I am going to be using it all night. Go ahead.
Okay, anyways, but it opened before they get into the meat and potatoes of this movie, right?
Yeah.
They open it up with, so it's sort of like the movie Scream. The movie Scream opens up before they get into it. There's like a little movie beforehand.
Hold on. Really? Urban legend is a little bit like Scream. This is one of those Scream ripoffs that
Right.
came
I'm
out
getting to
after
this.
Scream came out. There were about 1,000 of these.
Right, I'm getting to that because Scream was such a success. You
Yeah.
had I Know What You Did Last Summer. There was Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's all these movies that were like Scream.
Right.
But where it was, like Tim said, like a ripoff, I didn't think of it as that. But there's like a mini movie before the movie starts. And it's like a prelude to what else is going to happen. So what happens then is you have the college and the girl that whatever happens to her in the very beginning, she went to this college. So now the college students are talking about it. They're taking a class put on by Robert Englund. Is that how you say it? Englund?
Yeah, Robert Englund.
Yeah, the one who played Freddy Krueger. But he's not, he doesn't look like Freddy Krueger here. He looks like a normal
Krugerster.
Right.
The Krugerster.
He's, but the funny thing is that when you see him, like as an actual actor, he's got like a really small head. Did you notice that?
What?
His head seems like really small. It doesn't seem like it seems like it's shrunken.
You're calling Freddy a pinhead.
Well, no, because I hated that movie. But no, but I'm just saying, his head seems really. Come on, Mike. Someone's got to agree with me. His head seems shrunken.
No, nobody has to agree with you.
Anyways,
this is a unique perspective by Jeff Miller.
He's teaching a class. The class is urban legends or folklore. Which to me, if I had that chance to take that class in college, I think I would. It sounded like it'd be really cool. And in class, they go through a couple of the urban legends, with Mikey and all this sort of stuff. Well, the main character, Rebecca Gayheart. Now, at the time of this coming out, she was in Maxim magazine and all this. And so when I saw this originally, and I'll be honest with you, when I watched it again, because I forgot when I watched it originally, I thought we were going to see a little bit extra. I thought we might see a boob or two.
Yeah,
I kind of thought so.
She's in the news this week.
Oh, no boob for you.
No, not in this one. And the thing of it is,
she's actually in the news this week. Her husband is Eric Dane.
Yeah.
And he just told people that he has ALS.
Oh.
So I just found this out. She has 2 teenage children already. Mm-hmm. So that must have all happened since 1998.
Probably, but
that's how math works.
As we digress, and for us that aren't good with math, so she's the main character. She comes to this school. She's taking these classes. What this movie really does well is that they take you down a lot of different roads. They give you all these different avenues of who the killer could be, and I think it's kind of neat how they do it. I mean, again, I'm not the astute horror fan like the others on this panel or the others that watch this, but for me, it's a very entertaining movie because I didn't know, even when I rewatched it, I forgot who killed everybody. But what, Tim?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, I
was going to try to scare you.
No, don't do that. So, anyways, Jared Leto is in this. He's one of the main characters. Tim, he's one of the main characters. He's actually the reporter who Brenda, Rebecca Gayheart, is kind of infatuated with. She wants to get to know him, get with him, with all this stuff.
I forgot he was in this movie.
I did too. When you look at it,
I had no idea.
And when I saw the name, I'm like, I know that name.
I was also
look it
surprised to see that Lex Luthor was in this film. I forgot all about that. And that's Michael Rosenbaum.
Oh, yeah.
He went on to do that, and now he's a big podcaster.
Tara Reid's also in this movie. She plays the DJ in this movie.
Yeah, we met her at one of the Days of the Dead conventions. Uh-huh. And she still weighs about 80 pounds.
Yeah.
There is nothing to that girl.
Sarah Michelle Gellar was actually was cast for this part. She was going to be the Sasha character, but it interrupted with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so she didn't do it.
Okay.
You know who else is in this that I didn't?
She made a better choice. That was a long-term career maker for Sarah Michelle Gellar.
That's more than having soup on the side.
Right.
So... Also, who's in? Who else?
On the side? I thought that's in the corners.
Danielle Harris is in this too. She plays the goth roommate in this.
Right.
And again, it's another person that I wasn't aware of. I mean, after I've gone to this horror realm, I know who Danielle Harris is. I saw her name. I'm like, well, let's find out who she is in this movie. So watching it, she plays a very goth roommate, very, she's into lithium, and she smokes a lot. And fact be known, Danielle Harris smokes, or she did. And she was so happy to have this part where she could be smoking, but she got sick of smoking because it was on every one of the scenes and all that. So she actually gave it up. She got so sick of it that she gave it up. So she should be happy. She should be grateful for this movie.
I think we all are, Jeff, really.
Anyways, so what happens throughout this movie? There's a series of urban legends that happen throughout this movie. One that's not portrayed in this are the Haunchies, but it wouldn't because it's not. That's
because the only people in Muskego know about the Haunchies, Jeff.
But it is an urban legend, and that's great.
Let's take a moment because Mike is looking quizzically, and he's thinking of writing a book now on it.
About the Haunchies? You know what? I could be a co-writer on this book.
Oh my God! No, don't allow that. You'll be correcting the whole thing.
Or what is it? Or what is it when the person on the set? Tracey, you'll know this because you do this actor stuff. What is the person on the set to make sure that everything is done correctly? That person's called what? That's like a
consultant?
Yeah. I could be a consultant for Mike.
You're something, is what you are.
All right, well,
by what a Haunchie is.
The fact that Urban Legends had the tagline, "A movie so good it'll make you quit smoking."
Perfect. Look at that. Anyways, so throughout this whole movie, the whole thing is with urban legends, and there was a really disturbing scene with a dog. I'm not going to get into it, but it sort of disturbed me a little bit. And it's actually, I think, again, well put together, even though it came out during the same time as I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream and all that. I think it didn't totally rip everything off, and they didn't sort of just like throw it together. There was some thought put into this. Now, I know there was 2 other movies after this. I have not seen the other 2 urban legends. I can't tell you how those are. But
you're okay.
But as far as this one,
okay.
as this one is concerned, I really liked it. I thought it was well done.
Now you kind of glossed over this, and poor Mike and Tracey don't know what a Haunchie is. So
a Gucci? What?
No, it's a Haunchie. A Haunchie. You can actually find.
I think I had a Haunchie. It's like a submarine sandwich.
No, it's the hoagie.
It's a hoagie.
Pork on it.
It's a hoagie.
Cheese curds.
So Haunchie, they're these little people that used to live on the end of Mystic Lane in Muskego, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And what they do is, if you were to go there, they would find you. They would like gnaw at your ankles until you fall over, and then they kill you.
Yep. And they were protected by an elderly woman that had a shotgun filled with rock salt. And I actually led an expedition one time.
You did?
Yes. Down to Mystic Lane.
Yeah.
On my dirt bike. And oddly, I'm sad to report we did not see any Haunchies, but we did see evidence that they have been in the area. And that evidence was there were a couple branches that were broken in the fields there. So obviously those were Haunchies that were coming through.
The Haunchies are a real thing. I mean, you can say what you want, Tim, but I don't go down
Mystic Lane. They have gentrified that area because they have gone in there and they killed every last Haunchie. I'm sorry to say.
Tim is spreading fake news here because the Haunchies are still around.
No,
you just don't know where they are.
They were systematically eradicated from the face of the earth. It's very sad.
Whatever helps Tim get to sleep at night.
These Haunchies. But there are a few that are still milling around in Muskego looking for young lovers that are pulled off to the side of the road and knocking over their pickup trucks. Because in Muskego, if you don't drive a pickup truck, you ain't driving.
You drive a Jeep.
Ugh. Yuck. Then all the ducks fall out when you knock the thing over on the side.
Back to urban legend.
Okay, urban legend.
So urban legend, like, I can give it a grade now. I mean,
okay, let's give her a grade.
Before I spoil any of it.
Yes, before that happens, because it will happen.
You know what? This is a very solid movie. I think it stands the test of time. You can watch this movie now and feel like,
well, you know what you're getting into.
Right.
This is not going to be something where you're going to be kept up all night. by this movie.
No, but I mean, you can watch this not knowing when it
Right.
first came out, and you can
Right.
feel like you're in the
Right.
movie.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? I like this. I'm going with a B+ on this. I really thought this was a good movie.
Three in a row.
3 B pluses in a row, ladies and gentlemen. Unheard of.
Is on.
Unheard of. Yeah,
Can
well,
we go for 4?
you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out.
Before we move on, I
Yes.
have to say, and this is like a horror. It's a mea culpa. It's something that embarrasses me to have to say this, but I cannot keep the urban legend movies, the later ones, like the sequels, and the Final Destination sequels straight in my head.
Yeah.
Like if you gave me a scene from one of them, I would not be able to tell you which movie it was in.
Yeah, the Final Destinations all blurred together for me. I really couldn't tell you, except for I think it was the third one that had the utility poles that fell off.
Yeah.
That
Everyone
scene,
knows that one. Yeah.
I know very well because I actually, when I worked for the utility, that's what I bought, were utility poles. And the pole salesman and I, that movie came out while I was buying that. We used to joke about that all the time. About let's go out and kill some teenagers. Let's get pole order on here. And
Tim knows a pole
unfortunately,
salesman.
our
That's what the takeaway is.
our utility poles had no teenager deaths involved,
See, and the only scene I
which
remember
was sad. We really thought we missed an
Spoiler for
opportunity.
the third movie, by the way. Sorry.
See, yeah, I didn't do it either. The only scene I remember from those is there was a tanning bed scene. That was in the
Yeah.
first one, I think.
See,
was it
if
the
you
first
gave me
or the
tanning bed
last one?
scene, I might have guessed Final Destination on that one.
Yeah.
Because that seems like one of those wacky Rube Goldberg things that where
Right.
someone could have ended up in a tanning bed. I don't know.
They're making another one right now. They're making another Final Destination
my
right
gosh.
now. Yep. All right. So we're going to move on to me. I have a very strange movie that I don't think any of you have seen. The movie I'm going to be reviewing tonight comes to us from Australia. Now, Jeff, Australia is a big island that's out in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, you'd call it a continent.
It is the only island that is also a continent. And I sometimes, after having the onion rings we have for dinner, I'm becoming incontinent.
Oh my god.
Okay. So the name of the movie is...
Oh my god.
The name of the movie is Dangerous Game. Now, people that know me know that I have like this weird obsession with movies that are based on the short story The Most Dangerous Game. There's like dozens of them. I've often have thought about that would be a great book. I'm sure somebody's already written it. But they just keep coming out. And I heard about this movie watching a documentary about Ozploitation films. And it is directed by Stephen Hopkins. If that name sounds familiar to you, he's the director of Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. In fact, that was the movie he made almost directly after this movie. He also directed Predator 2, which I think is very underrated by a lot of people.
Agree.
He did The Ghost in the Darkness. He did the Lost in Space reboot. He did The Life and Death of Peter Sellers in 2004. And Jeff, your movie Race that we did on Dead on the Bases, he also directed. So he's done horror movies, he's done sports movies, he's done a lot of thrillers. This movie, saying it's a horror movie might be a little bit of a stretch. When I went into it thinking this is a slasher. And if you read the descriptions of the movie, it sounds like a slasher. It might be a little bit more of a thriller. Having said that, it's a fun movie, and I'm kind of glad I didn't know going into it what it was going to be. So I'm going to
Well, thanks for ruining it for us, Tim.
Well, I'm going to be a little bit cautious. I'm going to be a little cautious because there's some things I could give away, that might increase your willingness to see it, but I think would diminish your viewing of it. So here's the basics of the movie. There's a cop who definitely has some form of mental problems. He's a little bit off. He torments a group of teenagers to the point where it looks like he's going to get fired as a police officer. One of the kids, and this is told very early in the movie, one of the kids in this group, his father used to be his commanding officer, and he didn't like this particular officer. So he's got kind of a bee in his bonnet about this kid. Okay, so there's like 4 or 5 kids. Now, this was made in 1988. Just by looking at the slides that we're running through, you can tell this was made in 1988 because it is so 80s styles when it comes to the hair, comes to the clothes, comes to how they walk around. I mean, there is a lot of scenes of computers in here that are quaint, and you almost expect them to pull up America Online at some point. And I say that because one of the people in the group of these teens is kind of fashions himself a computer hacker. And to prove his skills to the rest of the group, he opens a security door on a Mark Wells department store downtown. This is like a Macy's type of store. I don't think it's a real store name, but that's what it is in here. The teens entered the store, and the police officer who's been following them because he's nuts, he follows them in, and he locks them in the store with him in there. And he commences to start playing this dangerous game by scaring them in a way that accidentally kills one of the kids. Or is it accidental? There's a bit of a question as to, was this accidental, or is he really out to kill these guys? And as you keep going through the movie, you know, this guy doesn't have a little bit of mental problems. He's got a whole slack-jawed file folder full of them. And once there's first blood here, it becomes a bit of a hunting movie with the officer having all the skills and these teenagers being just completely without any skills. He goes right to the sporting goods department and gets himself geared up. Now, unlike many, so this is the stalker in a department store trope that we've seen. There are a lot of horror movies that are set in stores. You got Dawn of the Dead, Chopping Mall, Night of the Comet, Intruder, Eric's Revenge, Phantom of the Mall, which of course stars Pauly Shore. But in those, I think in each one of those I just rattled off, they went to actual operational stores or malls, and they had the movie characters kind of carefully go around in those stores, and they might have set up like a single display or something for them to knock over, but they didn't go into heavy damage. They just didn't, because they needed to be ready to be open again the next morning. And you hear a lot about that with the movie Intruder and Dawn of the Dead, where it's like, hey guys, it's time to clean up. We got to get out of here. There's a lot of stories for that. This movie's pretty low budget, so I was expecting that when we walked into it, particularly since this was a pretty fancy looking department store. They built the set. It is the largest set that was ever made for an Australian production. It was done in Bondi in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. And I take it back. His set was built one of the largest ever built. Maybe not the largest, but in 1990 it was the largest. When a book came out talking about it. So they are not careful. They are not careful. Things get real messy in that department store. The tension is real. The stakes feel real. And the villain is impossible to predict because you're not quite sure how far on the crazy scale is this guy. And because, like, from the beginning of the movie, they're using his name. He's Murphy. Right, Murphy. So they all know who this guy is. He's kind of like the creepy...
He's RoboCop.
He's kind of like the creepy rent-a-cop that hangs around their school. So they all know this guy. In fact, there's only one scene where he wears a mask. And let me tell you, that's a disturbing freaking scene. I don't know where they got the mask that they put him in. I tried for the longest time to find that particular shot to put up in the thing because it's really creepy. But I couldn't find it. It isn't particularly gory, but it's got a lot of tension and tension to spare. I can tell why he was hired onto some pretty big projects like Elm Street 5 and Predator 2 right after this movie. This movie is a bit of a knockout. It's really good. And unfortunately, I can't give it a B+. I got to give it an A. It's a really good movie. It's a really good movie. It is not your horror film du jour. You know, it isn't that. But what it is an extremely good thriller, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time. He has enough of a budget to make it feel real instead of, let's tiptoe around the shopping center. It felt real, and it was fun. The characters are well acted. I don't think I've seen any of these actors in anything else. I think they're, Australian actors that haven't been on TV shows that we've had shot here in the States or something, but really a fun movie. I have to suggest that everybody try to find this thing. It's not currently streaming, so I had to watch it on DVD that I had. I've had it forever. But it goes out on Tubi every so often is what I was able to find out. So this is one to kind of keep your eye open for when it's available. It's a fun time at the movies, and you won't be checking your Facebook feed. You're going to be watching the movie.
Can streaming services like Tubi and that, can you put in there like something for if it pops up, they alert you so you can watch it?
What I use is I use a product called justwatch.com.
Okay. All right.
Where I put a watch on it.
Yeah.
And then it will give me an alert. I have to look at it every so often, but it'll give me an alert if it comes out on a service, which is very helpful. It's very helpful, particularly the weird stuff I like to watch isn't available all the time.
Is Just Watch free?
Yeah, Just Watch is free. You can create your own little queue in there, and you can tell it, these are the services I actually subscribe to, and like Tubi and Roku and those, I put it in there because they're free, And it's surprising how much stuff pops up on Tubi, and Roku in particular has been on a tear lately. They had a couple show up over on Roku I was shocked about. So it's a good little service. And when they make a movie about Haunchies, we'll be all set. We'll be ready.
Yeah, that's the new urban legend movie, actually.
It's about Haunchies.
There will be a Haunchie movie soon.
Oh, my God. All right. Everybody, it's time to do the promos part of the show, which is always our longest and most egregious part of the program. But it doesn't seem to be starting when I hit the button. There it goes. Maybe. There it goes. Gee willikers. All right, so we are at this portion of the show. Let's go to the plugs. First, we have to tell you about next week. Here on Dead on Thursdays, we're going to do a Tremors retrospective. That'll be coming April 24th, not April 2024. What idiot typed that in?
And that's a Wednesday, right?
That was me. But that is coming, and you will definitely want to see that. We want to remind everybody, Michael, what are you doing over there at Dragon's Roost?
We have a couple of new books that will be coming out shortly. Our next convention is in, checking the date, a month. We will be at the Halfway to Halloween.
Wow,
Festival.
halfway already.
Wow, yeah, it is coming up. I think Shudder was doing something too, if I remember correctly. All right, Tracy, what are you up to these days?
Whatever I want, Tim.
Okay.
Nice answer.
And nobody gets in your way, right?
No, sir.
Fantastic. Well, you can keep track of her at her IMDb. Click on it every couple of days so that she gets the clicks. And I got it up there on the screen for everybody, and it'll be in our show notes. Fantastic. Want to tell you some stuff that's going on at Horror Realm, if you guys don't mind.
Do it.
What, Jeff? You're giving me a look.
You didn't ask me what I got going on.
Okay, Jeff, what have you got going on?
Well, there's a lot of sports going on, a lot of brewer action going on.
Okay.
And I have a movie I have to watch coming up here for Dead on the Bases. It's
Right.
Malignant.
Malignant is what you're going to be
So I'll
watching.
be watching that, yes.
Yeah, good times. All right, let's talk about Horror Realm. We are not 49 days. What is
Oh my
wrong with
God.
this damn thing? It screwed up again.
Oh, it did?
It was working. I'm now very concerned about my next two buttons to push on here. Okay, that came up right. We already have 6 of our panel interviews are up on the site. We have the Thanksgiving that Jeff did. We have Allison Court. We have the Return of the Living Dead. That was one of mine. We had Mike Myers and Jason Tom Morga, the stuntman, and he also did Leatherface. There's some controversy about that, and that's discussed all in that interview. Then we have the Women in Horror that I performed, and the Nick Nemeth. Those are out. Those are currently out on YouTube. You can check them out. But we also have some that are coming up. Let's see if I press the buttons and things actually show up. So coming up Nope. There we go. The Evil Dead 2 panel is going to be coming out very soon. Actually, the next one to come out, I believe, is going to be Michael Berryman is coming out.
Cool.
We have Robert Russler, 80s icon, is going to be on the website. Our Terrifier 2 and 3 panel is coming out soon. And, of course, the Killer Clowns. The Killer Clowns will also be coming. That will be the last one. That will be early in May. We're going to be dropping that one. So a lot of really good stuff coming to our website regarding those programs. And after this show, I am going to be attacking and destroying this computer for giving the wrong countdown once again. But if you missed it, there was a big announcement that next year it's going to be the same weekend. So end of February, beginning of March.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, beginning of March. And it's going to be at a larger space, about 33% larger than this last year. If you were there this last year, you know on Saturday it was teetering on the brink of being comfortable in that space with so many people. So getting to a larger space is probably going to be a good move. So we're all looking forward to that. And you can find details about that both on otherworldlyculture.com website and horrorrealmcon.com, that website as well. And the webmasters of those two websites know each other and share information.
Exciting, a bigger venue.
Yeah, we're very excited. Tracey, we're all still waiting for you to come on out for us. We need to figure that out one of these years.
It's going to be this year, right? 2026?
When?
This next one, 2026, you'll be there, right?
Yeah, she wants
I'm
to.
going to put it on my whiteboard because everything that gets put there happens.
There you go. Perfect.
I'll follow up with you. I'll get you some info. Okay, everybody, please remember to rate us, like us, and follow us on any of the podcast applications, Twitch, YouTube, what have you. It helps us find new viewers so we can keep doing our programming here on Otherworldly Culture. We have also started on YouTube. We're putting out quite a few shorts, including bits and pieces from some of the panels. But I'm also doing some news articles.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
putting them out there and seeing when I can get my journalism degree back in action.
You're talking about short, like thing, not physical
it's
shorts.
under 3.
Not like
If I wear
shorts.
physical shorts, we'll have too many followers.
Okay.
This is just short videos.
Gotcha.
Cover the story, but do not belabor them. So that's what we're doing. All right. Want to thank everybody. Mike, glad to see you again. And we'll see you next week for Tremors. Tracey, always good to hear from you. And Jeff.
Miss you, Tracey.
Yeah. And Jeff, we are going to see you again next week for Tremors.
Yeah.
And then again for Dead on the Bases. So, all right. It sounds good. Thank you, everybody. And we wish you a great evening. When you aim at horror, make sure that you are dead on. See you next time.
Otherworldlyculture.com. Subscribe, like, and comment on our posts all over social media and our site, otherworldlyculture.com.